Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. And boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So, I guess we can call this breaking news. I'm sure you guys have heard. Anthony Joshua has finally picked his coach. And I think he did the right thing. Okay? I really do. Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time, consider subscribing, hitting the like button, consider donating, because this is what I do. Now, Anthony Joshua, I've said in videos, and I'm so glad to see he's picked one of the three trainers that I said he would need in order for him, in my opinion, to be successful. Now, my number one choice was for him to just go back to Robert McCracken. It doesn't make sense for him to be out here bouncing all around the world trying to find somebody that can get him back to who he was. Who knows him better than Robert McCracken, right? But obviously, it's not what he wants to do, and you got to respect it. So you take a look at the next in line, to me, was Derrick James or Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach obviously probably can't keep up with a guy like Joshua and the power that Joshua has, seeing that Freddie Roach, his Parkinson is continuing to just progress. Freddie Roach is, if you watch him, man, it's sad to watch him, but his condition is deteriorating. But he's still hanging in there. But I just think a guy like Anthony Joshua, with how demanding a training schedule with him will be, how powerful he is, and everything else, I just think that may be too much for Freddie Roach at this moment. So then it was Derrick James. Now, I'm surprised that Derrick James kind of went along with it, but could have been a little bit of gamesmanship on his end because he didn't want to spill the beans. But he was saying that, hey, they're more about quality than quantity, and taking on a guy like Joshua when he has such a demanding schedule with Earl Spence and Jermell Charlo, that fitting AJ into the camp would be difficult, and he didn't want to not be able to give the champion the type of attention he needs, because Anthony Joshua, it's rumored now that he's a very, very needy fighter. Now, Robert Garcia, who I think is just being a bit of a sourpuss because he went over there to help Joshua, and he wasn't able to get the job done. Yeah, the fighter's the one in the ring. The fighter's the one who has to get in there and do the business. There's only so much the trainer can do or say. They can't go fight for you. But I kind of like the fact that Robert Garcia came out and gave us a peek behind the tent flaps on what was going on with Anthony Joshua. But at the same time, with me being a guy retired military, there's some things that you leave behind closed doors. And you and I can sit there and disagree and argue. Shit, we can go and punch it out, you know what I'm saying, behind closed doors. But once we come from behind those closed doors and we go out in front of people, you and I got to be on the same page. It doesn't matter if I got blood dripping from my lip, your eyes closed. We go out there, we're on the same page. And when I don't see that, it's just something personal in me that, I don't like. Because it's almost like, what's his name, Robert Garcia. He has this thing that I totally despise. I call it the I'm okay, you're not okay type personality. And that's what it struck me as, that he was, for the most part, kind of displaying a little bit of, look, I'm okay as the trainer. I've done all these great things with guys in my camp. I went over there. This guy has a whole lot of problems. He's not okay. Don't look at me. And I do believe there's probably a little bit of tension and some growing pains. It's all part of that team development stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got the what's it called, man? The foreman stage. You got the storming stage. Then you got the performing stage. You know what I'm saying? I could have been saying them a little out of place, but I think when he got over there, it sounded like they remained in the storming stage throughout the whole damn camp. As a result, that affects productivity. Okay? At some point, you got to reach the performance stage. And if you listen to Robert Garcia, it sounds like they never got to the performance stage. Then Joshua gets in the ring, and there's certain things you would expect for him to do, that you guys work together as a team. But if the dynamic wasn't there, then you're not going to get you're not able to get meet your end goal. The final product isn't there. And obviously, there's some things that Joshua was doing in the ring that Robert Garcia didn't like. But I'll tell you what, from the audio that I heard, Robert Garcia was telling Joshua he was winning the damn rounds when Joshua wasn't winning those rounds. Okay? So, that being said, Robert Garcia, I got a little bit of a Sour Patch Kid over there. So I'm glad he talked about it, but at the same time, it's like, all right, my man, you can stop there, because Robert Garcia has gone on record and said the next guy who trains Anthony Joshua is going to look spectacular because of the level of competition Joshua is going against. And as a result, Robert Garcia said anyone who trains him is going to be able to look good. And he's partially right, but at the same time, it sounds like he has been sipping a little bit of haterade. But now he's with Derrick James, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You look at the products that James has over there with him. From Martin, you look at Jamel, you look at Spence. Look at when Jamel went over there. Before Jamel went over there, he was considered the brother who couldn't hit hard. Got over there with Derrick James, turned him into a puncher, boxer puncher. Earl Spence, we already know what Earl Spence brings to the table. This man gets into a car accident, horrific car accident, comes back, no tune-up, goes straight into a big fight, and does his thing. So it's obviously something special over there in that camp. Then he picks up this guy, Frank Martin, and Frank Martin is an animal. At 135, I don't know if he can make 130, but 140, I give him a shot against anybody. I think the fight to make is Frank Martin and Tank Davis, but this isn't about him. Okay, so now he's taking on a heavyweight champion. Now, Eddie Hearn is excited about it because now he can get the ball rolling. But this is the thing, right? I personally think with this guy that Anthony Joshua is fighting, right? He's from Australia. His name is Demsey Mckean. 22 wins, 0 losses, 14 KOs. Now, when I first saw the name and I kind of read an article about what the plans were, I said, okay, he picked somebody, that to just kind of get his feet wet and get his confidence up a little bit. But I was like, damn, how'd they come up with this guy? Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I never heard of this guy, Demsey Mckean. So I started, doing my research and everything. Then, lo and behold, you find out that him and Anthony Joshua are sparring partners. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I'm going to say this. For everybody who ripped Deontay Wilder for picking Helenius in a return fight, right? His former sparring partner. Look, you can't sit there now and not give Joshua a little bit of flack. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with what Wilder did fighting Helenius. Looking at what Helenius did to Kanaki, and knowing how Deontay Wilder struggled with guys who are of equal stature, I said, damn, Deontay Wilder, man, picked the wrong fight. But obviously, he was right, we were wrong. But now you're looking at Anthony Joshua. He got to come in here and fight this Aussie Southpaw man who recently got a win over Tai Tuivasa, who used to be a UFC fighter, man. And after he won that fight, he immediately called for Anthony Joshua. So, I don't know, man. But obviously for me, it probably wouldn't be my first preference for Anthony Joshua to fight. I don't know what happened with the Dylan White fight. I think Eddie Hearn is really going to take his time with Anthony Joshua, put him here with the Aussie, let him get a quick knockout, put him in there with Dylan White by the summer, let him, retire Dylan White, because that's what's going to happen. And then, according to Eddie Hearn, at the end of the year, they're looking to stage Anthony Joshua with Deontay Wilder. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know, because now you got Derrick James involved. Derrick James isn't going to sit there if he feels Anthony Joshua's not ready and just try to throw him in a fight with Deontay Wilder. But I will tell you this. Now that Anthony Joshua, to me, has a very good trainer, man, I give Anthony Joshua a chance against anybody. I'm just being honest with you. Deontay Wilder only takes one punch, but I'm telling you, with Derrick James, his fighters don't come out slow. They come out, they let their hands go. And with Deontay Wilder, you got to catch him. You got to catch him when he first comes out. He can come out fast sometimes, but I think if Anthony Joshua comes out and presses him and gets his shots off first, because sometimes Deontay Wilder has to collect himself. Joshua can knock Deontay Wilder out in that first round. Now, for those of you who are Wilder fans, I am too. I'm just saying, Anthony Joshua, height-wise, as far as the length of his arms, power, skill set, being with Derrick James, I just find it hard for me to go against Anthony Joshua at this point in time if he can get from behind that loss of confidence. If he can get from behind it, Anthony Joshua will be a problem. And the reason I say that is look at the guys who are performing underneath the tutelage of Derrick James. Monsters, man. So I expect him to take AJ and work with him, and I think he's going to wait until the time is right, and then he's going to let him loose on the big names, the Wilders, maybe a Joe Joyce. Matter of fact, while we're talking about it, right? When we think about Anthony Joshua, and we think about the heavyweights and the heavyweight division, and kind of how that whole landscape is looking. I'm pulling something up I'm going to show you, right? I think we have to understand there are quite a few choices for Anthony Joshua, but there's really not that many. So for those of you who are complaining about Anthony Joshua's in this fight that he's taking, okay, I can understand your frustration. I'm being honest with you. I can understand your frustration, but at the same time, let's take a look here. I just saw that guy's name, man. Where is he on here? All right. Joseph, right here. So, number 11 underneath the IBF. That's who Anthony Joshua is fighting. Demsey Mckean. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Something may kind of go out of picture, but you can still understand it, read the names. So, we look underneath here under the WBO. Let's see. Because Anthony Joshua can fight who the hell he wants, right? Let's see, what's out there for him? Andy Ruiz, he's not fighting him. Frank Sanchez, too much of a threat. Otto Wallin, too much of a threat right now. Flip Hrgovic. Eddie Hearn has other plans for Flip Hrgovic. Trying to get him lined up to fight Usyk Fury. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, maybe later in the year. I don't know who this person is. Joseph Parker, Old News, Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson isn't ready. Then you got Demsey Mckean at number 10 for the WBO. So you come over to the IBF. Flip Hrgovic, talked about him. Ruiz, Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Bakole Alunga. I mean, again, you don't really know much about him. And the other reason why I think Eddie Hearn picked the number 11 under the IBF, Demsey Mckean, is because Eddie Hearn just started doing business in Australia. So it would only make sense for him to pick this guy, Demsey Mckean. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about them before I flipped over to this slide. Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are doing big business in Australia now, so that's why another reason why this guy Demsey Mckean ended up being the front runner to land the fight. But after him for the IBF, you got Otto Wallin, and we know he's not going to fight him. So for the WBC, just a lot going on right now. Wilder and Ruiz are going to be fighting. Frank Sanchez is a problem. This guy right here, Makhmudov, he's a problem. He's a monster too, man. So you're not going to throw Anthony Joshua in with this guy. I think he actually, Makhmudov, won a gold medal in the Olympics. Then you got Joshua Dillian White. Joshua's going to easily clip him. That'll be his next fight after he gets through with the Australian. And then again, you got some names, Luis Ortiz down at the bottom. Then over at the WBA, again, some of the same names that we've been seeing. But realistically, for Anthony Joshua and Matchroom and as a comeback fight, what makes sense, not just for Joshua, for boxing business, for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, because Eddie Hearn has to make his money. I mean, it makes sense for him to go and put him in there with this guy, Demsey Mckean. So, that being said, we'll see if Anthony Joshua can get it together, be more comfortable letting his hands go. I don't know. But the thing is, when these when these promoters put on fights, they like to take their guys and put them against each other. And Anthony Joshua this guy Mckean, he and Anthony Joshua are both promoted by Eddie Hearn. So see, some of you guys didn't know that. Now, Eddie Hearn was throwing out all kind of names before they picked this guy and got everybody all spun up thinking AJ was going to go into a fight with Wallen, go into a fight with Dillian White. But Eddie Hearn has kind of figured out the way ahead, and it's going to be easy fight, and then pick up the pace and probably go into something a little stiffer competition. So don't be surprised if AJ fights 4 times this year. The first 2, basically cherry picks, brush these 2 guys off, and then by the 6-month mark, fight a little bit stiffer competition, and end the year fight Wilder. Joshua said he wanted to fight about 4 to 5 times, so don't be surprised if that's what they do, man. But I'll tell you what, whether he fights 4 times, he fights 2 times, he fights 1 time, you got to give him a good chance against anyone, knowing that he has Derrick James in his corner now. So it is what it is, man. But that being said, y'all be cool. We'll see if Joshua can come back and have one of those career best performances like he did against Pulev in December of 2020. But I am not sure. But we'll see. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. AJ is back. Derrick James. Got to give him a chance to do something big, man, because Derrick James is a great trainer. As always, I'm in the breeze.